Synecdoche, New York is a 2008 tragic comedy directed by Charlie Kaufman about a theater director named Caden Cathart who, in the wake of an existentialist midlife crisis, finds his life quite literally running by so fast that in just the span of 2 hours of the film's runtime, you get to see an artist become driven by his obsession with death and recreating life so accurately in his art that he loses sense of his own life passing by so quickly.
And that's what I want to explore. We're all hurtling towards death.
The film is an incredible dissection of life and what we try so hard to do to leave a legacy behind in the process of that. Through all of the incredible writing, directing, and acting, one incredibly important part of Caden's character is the soundtrack that plays around him. The soundtrack, composed by John Bryan, communicates the very feeling of dread that he feels, and that we eventually feel as well for him.
Get off! It's my daughter! That's my daughter!
Caden's theme repeats several times throughout the soundtrack as a leitmotif which communicates the impending death, doom, and tragedy that we as an audience feel through Bryan's scornful string sections, playing off a melody that can only be described as a funeral march. The theme begins slowly, with guitar strings gently plucking away at the chords, until it builds, representing Caden's increasing anxiety intruding in his mind. Fragmented synths are laden throughout each track during the second half of the film, bringing this glitchy, dystopic feel behind the instrumentation, to serve as a jarring juxtaposition from the mostly real, organic instruments, which attempt to overpower the synths. The soundtrack serves in telling the protagonist's journey in showing this angel of death around Caden, as if his own thoughts are played to us through this one sorrowful melody. Much like the plot of Synecdoche itself, the entire score quite literally revolves around the protagonist and his insecurities. Certain scenes with Caden in a bar, for example, showcase a very clear indication of his worries, written by Kaufman and John Bryan themselves, and this song is directed specifically at Caden.
No one will ever love you for everything you are, and so you build up layers of deception, and you leave out things to alter the perceptions.
Even through Caden's successes, they're undercut with this lingering feeling of guilt and self-hatred.
No one wants to hear about my misery because they have their own.
The sad dirge playing over him while as he gets in a MacArthur grant represents this longing feeling for the family that have abandoned him and a reluctance to let go. The second song in the soundtrack with lyrics is a bluesy track named Little Person, which ends up being the swan song for Caden's love life, as well as his longing for his old family, which devolves into that flirtatious, mysterious, sexual energy behind it, as we feel Caden wrestling with the idea of cheating on his wife Adele with this woman who strokes his ego.
I'm really sick, and I think I'm dying. I have a kid, and I'm married.
This soundtrack, particularly within the first half of Synecdoche, New York, manages to brilliantly capture existentialism with a powerful leitmotif that points to the inevitability of death. For a funeral song will be played for every one of us when that time comes. It's up to us to tune that song out for all of our sakes before that day happens.